Welcome to the English with Kirsty podcast from www.englishwithkirsty.com. Here I'll be sharing with you tips, information and other learning resources so that you can improve your business English. Hello everybody and welcome to episode 29 of the English with Kirsty podcast. And today I thought I'd talk about something that I'm doing on my blog. So at the moment there's a new series and it's called Germans in the UK. So the reason I did it is because I work with people in all kinds of situations, but some people want to come and live and work here in the UK, and I can definitely help them with their language. I can tell them a bit about the culture and what it's like here, but only from my perspective as someone who's always lived and worked here, because I've never lived in any other country, so I don't know what it's like to move and live somewhere else. So I decided to speak to people that I know, my friends, and have a series called Germans in the UK on the blog. So everybody answers the same 10 questions, and hopefully it will help people that want to know more about the UK or more about living here, or generally more about language resources, because some of the questions are more general ones about language resources. So even if you're not planning to live in the UK, it might still be interesting for you to hear this, because there are some tips as well. So this is going to be an ongoing series, but I've got 3 people's answers here, so I thought we'd just talk about 3 of them today, and then maybe if people like this I'll do another episode on this further down the line, but it's not going to be a regular thing, but I thought I'd just introduce you to it. So we have 3 people. They are Anya, Marcus and Christina. So Anya's been here in the UK for 19 years. Marcus has only been here for 4 months, and Christina's been here for 12 years. So there's a bit of difference in terms of how long people have been here. As for the reasons why people came here, one was to do a university project, and the others wanted to, one's partner was living here and the other one was to work here. So when I asked about some of the things that people did in terms of preparation, the kinds of things that came up were finding a flat share, finding somewhere to live so you don't just turn up and have to put all your stuff in a temporary place. You need to have somewhere that you're going to live. Another thing was to get English lessons before you go, because then it's easier to, if you feel more confident about your language skills, then it's easier to worry about the other things that you have to do, because language isn't such a big deal. And looking for a job as well. 2 out of 3 of the people here said that they already had a job, and the third one was going to do part of her university project, so the job wasn't relevant there. But those that have come said that they already had a job first. So then I asked about how people went about finding somewhere to live. So Anya said that she stayed with friends, and then she used the university to ask around there and to find somewhere through the university, also looking at newspapers. That was helpful. Marcus said that he used Facebook. So there are groups for flat shares in London, and he posted an article about himself, said what he was looking for, and found somewhere there. And he said if you've got something to offer the other people, like as an added bonus, like cooking or cutting their hair or something that you can do, then he said that often helps, because you're more attractive as a flatmate than someone who just says I want somewhere to live. And Christina had a boyfriend here already, so that was how she came. So then I asked about making friends, because sometimes when you come to a new city and you don't know anybody, it can be really hard to make friends and meet new people. So I asked them how they went about finding new people to be friends with, to go out with. Anya said that because she was at the university, that was a bit easier, because she could make new friends through university. But she said that sports was also a good way to do that, because you could meet people with the same interests through sports. Marcus said meetups. Meetup.com is a website, and you can look for all kinds of things on there. When I moved, I looked for a group of people who enjoyed walking or socializing, or there are other groups, especially in London. There are tons in London, people that are new to London, people that want to do certain activities. So this website brings people together that are local, and you can meet your people that way. And Christina said that finding friends was and still is very difficult, and this is how you can see some of the cultural differences, because many of the friendships are still on quite a superficial level if you don't find people with whom you've got much in contact. And then I asked, question 5 is about people's experience of applying for jobs and the whole application process here. And everything I got was quite positive. Anya said it was good that people don't just look at the qualifications, but they also take experience into consideration, which I think is definitely true from all the other conversations I've had about this. In England, it's not just what qualifications you have, although for some jobs that is obviously important, but it's very much, what experience do you have? What can you bring to the job? What have you done already? And it's not just based on your qualifications. And also, 2 of the 3 people mentioned that there are no photos on the CV, on the application, and that's a good thing. So if you are thinking of applying for a job here, you don't need to put your photo on. In fact, you probably shouldn't, because we don't do it here. And that's a good thing, because then the photo has no influence on the potential employer, because they haven't seen it. It's just based on what you've written in your application, what qualifications and experience you have. And Christina said that finding a job here was easier and less formal than in Germany. Salary talks are quite open, and that's another big difference. I know that often the salaries, or at least the salary range, is put on the job advert. Not always, but in many cases you know roughly what you can expect to earn, because then it's easier for you. If you think that that's not enough for you, then you just don't apply for the job, and you don't waste your time or the employer's time. But there seems to be here a lot less secrecy about salary and expected salary, which Christina said is a good thing, and I think is a good thing as well. Okay, number 6 was about good resources for learning English, and Anya said that she likes dict.leo.org as a dictionary. Marcus said English with Kirsty, that's great. And there's also a website called engvid.com, and the book called Englische Grammatik. So he said that was good as well. And Christina didn't say a specific website, but she said it's really important to keep talking, because you can read, you can build your vocabulary, but the main thing is keep talking to people, even if it's hard at first, because there is a lot that you won't know if you've been learning at school or learning with books in terms of the way people talk to each other generally. And it's the only way to improve that really is to do it and to talk to people. And then I asked who has helped you most with your English, and Anya said it was her flatmates. They helped, so that's a good point actually. If you're coming to England and you can and you want to share a flat and you can find some English speakers, that will really force you to speak English if they don't speak your native language. But I don't know if that was a conscious decision for Anya, but she said that her flatmates helped her and her supervisor at the university. Marcus said Kirsty, which is good as well. So because I offer lessons and we work together, and so that he said that had helped him, so that's really good. I'm glad that I could do that. And Christina said that you should use a dictionary as well. Even when you've been here for a long time, it's still important to check things if you're not sure, because if you translate things word for word from your native language, then you can make mistakes. So question number 8 was what people thought about life here and the way colleagues relate to each other, what it's like being at work, what meetings are like, that kind of thing. So what differences are there? And Anya had an interesting point. She said that people are more polite but less straightforward. So on the surface it sounds as if people are being really polite, but the problem is that what they say isn't what they mean. And she was saying that in Germany, with her German friends, she's used to people being more direct. If something's a problem, they say it's a problem. If it's not okay, they say it's okay. They don't pretend that things are okay just to be polite. And she said that that was a struggle coming to England, because what people say isn't always what they mean. And I think that's true as well. I try not to do that, but having worked a lot with people in Germany and knowing a lot of people in England, I would say that is probably true, that the kind of communication in Germany is a lot more direct and straightforward. And I actually think that's quite helpful, because then you know where you stand. But in England, it isn't always the same. Marcus said a similar thing, but he saw it in a more positive way. He said that people are kinder and more polite. So if you've done something wrong, they'll find a nicer way of saying that it was wrong than he may have been used to in Germany, where people are a bit more direct. And Christina said that it's not uncommon for people not to greet each other. So she said that people in Germany shake hands with their colleagues, and we never do that in England. Maybe if you meet somebody for the first time, you'll shake hands with them, hi, nice to meet you, kind of thing. But you don't generally shake hands with, not with your colleagues, and not with people that you see regularly here. And she said that sometimes people don't say good morning to her when she says good morning, which, that's not very nice. I can't say that I've seen that, but I think people are a lot more focused on themselves and what they're doing. I certainly noticed that in where was I? In Sweden. I was in a hotel, and random people would say good morning to me, and I thought, oh, that's nice. So I said good morning back. But it's true, in England we don't generally say good morning to people we don't know, and I guess sometimes that happens with colleagues as well. And Christina also said that people don't speak up in meetings, so they might think something but they don't say it. So that's interesting. I hadn't heard of that or thought of that before, but that's an interesting thing, because if people don't speak up, then you don't know what they're thinking. You don't know if they agree with you or not. So that's not good. And also, she said that people lack efficiency and prefer to discuss things rather than to do things. And I have seen that. If we're still talking about the meetings here, I've seen meetings where I've just been in meetings where I just think, oh, come on, let's get the job done, let's stop talking about it and have some action. That will depend on where you're working, and it will be different from company to company, but I think that's interesting as well. And then I asked about, is there something that's hard to get used to, or something that you wish you'd known about before you came to England so that you could prepare yourself for it? And Anya said again about the different culture, people being polite but not saying what they mean, or meaning what they say. So that's hard to get used to. And the dating culture as well. She said that when she was at university, she used to go out with people, but that she was just going out to meet new people, to make friends, whereas for the people, if you went out for a drink with them, then they would see it as something a bit more, that it was more of a dating scenario than just a making friends scenario. Marcus said that it's hard to build up a social life when you, at the beginning, when you first get there, it's hard to start finding new friends and building up your social life, and that London is quite a stressful city, and that's true. If you come here, and it does take some getting used to. I remember that too. And the last thing I asked was about what people miss and what do they buy when they go back to Germany. So Anya said it's not too much of a problem because she's living in London, lots of things are available and you can go to shops and buy things that you want. But she does miss bread, German bread, and her mum's homemade jam. Marcus said that although you can get sushi here, it's much more expensive than he's used to. So it's not that he misses it, but the price of it has gone up a lot since he came here. It's more expensive than in Germany. And Christina said asparagus, white asparagus, isn't known in the UK. Crusty rolls, they don't taste the same here. So that's two people that have mentioned the bread. And currywurst, that she misses that too. So I hope that was interesting for you, just to see a bit about, or to hear about the cultural differences that people have noticed, people who previously lived in Germany and then came here to live. Some tips for places that you can go, a couple of website tips there, and some of the differences between the way you apply for jobs and the way people respond to each other and treat each other once you've actually got a job in an English company. A couple of people there mentioned my one-to-one lessons, so I will mention them here if anyone is interested. There is information on my website. I have been talking a lot recently about the courses that I provide, but I do also have customized one-to-one lessons where you cover the things that you need. So it's not a structured course, it's focusing on what you need to work on. And they are available Monday to Friday during the daytime and in the evening. If it's before 5 o'clock London time in the evening, then it is cheaper, which is 6 o'clock German time. So if you are available and want lessons that time, the daytime rate is cheaper, and you can also save money if you buy 3 or 5 lessons at once. Okay, promotion time over. So I may do more of these. I'm waiting for more people to respond because I've sent out some questionnaires, so hopefully we can build up an interesting selection of comments and ideas about this, and then I'll report back about that later. So have a good week and have fun learning English. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the English with Kirsty podcast. If you have any questions or comments, my email address is kirsty@englishwithkirsty.com, or you can go to www.englishwithkirsty.com/podcast, where you'll find information about the individual episodes.